Today in Real Life Archives, the dating scammer.
Look, we've all heard bad date stories, right? But what we are looking at today, it's not just a bad date. It is a masterclass in psychological manipulation. We are taking a forensic look at a highly sophisticated transnational deception that literally left a trail of emotional and financial devastation all over the globe. So let's just dive right into the chilling architecture of a modern fraudster.
There's a quote from the documentary director who investigated this entire case, and it honestly hits the nail on the head. They said, "This isn't just catfishing. This is catfishing on a whole other level." And you know what? They're absolutely right. Because we are not just talking about somebody using a few stolen profile pictures here. No, this is way darker. We are looking at the systematic manufacturing of an entirely fake reality, a reality custom-built to trap victims in an incredibly meticulous illusion.
So what exactly do we call this? Well, think of it as a romance Ponzi scheme. It's a system where emotional capital, real love, deep trust, empathy, is systematically converted into cold, hard cash, liquid assets. It relies on this continuous, high-velocity cycle of deception and psychological coercion. The con man literally takes money from one victim just to fund the extravagant illusion for the next one. It is the absolute cold monetization of human connection.
Let's move into Section 1, Anatomy of the Con.
How does a trap like this actually work? Well, it is essentially a three-stage predatory funnel. Step 1 is social proofing. This is where he uses displays of just mind-boggling wealth to instantly establish authority and credibility. Step 2, love bombing. He creates an intense, super rapid emotional bond designed to completely short-circuit the victim's critical thinking. And then the trap snaps shut with Step 3, the manufactured crisis. Sudden, terrifying emergencies where the victim feels utterly compelled to hand over their life savings to rescue their new partner. It's perfectly calculated.
And let me tell you, the illusion of wealth here, it was undeniable. Our con man didn't just casually mention he was rich, he provided physical, undeniable proof. We are talking about first dates at the ultra-exclusive Four Seasons Hotel in London. We are talking about spontaneous, cross-continent trips on private jets. These weren't just fun little luxuries, they were elaborate, massively expensive props. Their only purpose was to manufacture absolute, unwavering trust right from the jump.
Now, I want you to just let this number hang in the air for a second. 7.4 million pounds. That is the estimated total haul of this global fraud. Millions upon millions extracted from innocent people who genuinely believed they were bailing out a billionaire who had hit a temporary rough patch. To put that into perspective, the sheer financial velocity of this operation is simply staggering.
But as massive as that total is, we really need to contrast it with the deeply personal ruin of just a single individual. $250,000. That is the crushing amount of debt forcefully placed onto the shoulders of one victim, Cecily Frielhigh. And it wasn't just the money. The psychological toll of realizing the man she loved with all her heart was a literal phantom. It drove her into clinical depression and even psychiatric hospitalization. It's just devastating.
You see, Cecily was what forensic psychologists might call the ideal romantic target. The con man found her on Tinder and exploited her totally genuine search for love. He systematically manipulated her into believing he was this billionaire diamond heir, and get this, that his life was in immediate grave danger from violent enemies within the diamond industry. She never thought she was being scammed for a second. She truly believed she was protecting the man she was destined to marry.
But here is the crazy part. This wasn't actually just about romance. Take the case of Pernilla Schulholm. Her relationship with the con man? Completely platonic. They were just close friends who traveled together. But he still managed to manipulate that deep, high loyalty bond to defraud her out of roughly $65,000. It really proves just how incredibly adaptable his predatory tactics were. He wasn't just targeting romantic love, he was weaponizing any form of human trust.
Which brings us to Section 2, the Real Diamond Dynasty.
If you strip away the private jets, the tailored suits, and the entire fake billionaire persona, who is actually underneath? You are left with his true identity, Shimon Yehuda Hayut. He was born in the city of Bnei Brak in Israel. And no, his father was definitely not a diamond mogul. He was the chief rabbi of an airline. Hayut completely erased his middle-class origins so he could step into the stolen identity of the highly influential Leviev dynasty.
And you can probably guess the sheer fury of the actual family he decided to impersonate. Chagit Leviev, the real daughter of the billionaire diamond magnate, was completely appalled.
She stated, "Simon Leviev is a fraud who stole our family's identity and has tried to exploit our good name." It got so bad that the authentic Leviev family literally had to file criminal and civil lawsuits. They had to go to court just to stop this guy from destroying the pristine reputation they had spent generations building.
The contrast here is incredibly jarring. On one side of the coin, you have Simon Leviev, a guy operating on photoshopped family portraits, constantly bouncing checks, and leaving unpaid bills for luxury yachts and private jets in his wake. On the other side, you have LLD Diamonds. This is a highly reputable, generations-old enterprise. In the diamond industry, your credibility relies entirely on trust, and that was the exact trust Leviev was actively weaponizing and dragging through the mud.
Let's shift gears to Section 3, The Victims Strike Back.
This is where the story turns, because these women did not just stay quiet. They methodically dismantled his power. First up, they launched an international GoFundMe campaign, incredibly raising over $190,000 from the public to help clear those devastating, life-ruining debts. But they didn't stop there. They also published a book in August 2025 called Swindled Never After. It serves as a personal memoir, sure, but it is really a critical survival guide to help other people spot relationship scammers before it's too late.
Just look at how brilliantly they fought back. While Cecilie leaned heavily into advocacy and crowdfunding, another victim, Aileen Charlotte, she executed what is arguably a masterpiece of revenge. She knew he was totally obsessed with expensive designer labels, so she actually convinced him to hand over his luxury wardrobe, telling him she'd sell the clothes to fund his escape from his quote-unquote enemies. But instead, she sold off his clothes and secretly kept all the money to recoup her own stolen funds. I mean, talk about flipping the script.
And in a truly remarkable turn of events, the victims actually forged a global alliance with the very family whose name was used to scam them in the first place. Cecilie, Pernilla, and Aileen partnered directly with Simon Leviev. Together, they designed and sold a $169 charity bracelet. It was a beautiful, powerful symbol of unity. All these women from totally different worlds standing together against a common enemy.
Now for the deeply frustrating part, Section 4, Evading International Justice.
Trace this timeline with me for a second, because it is wild. He was imprisoned in Finland back in 2015. Okay, then he was arrested in Greece in 2019, got extradited to Israel, but somehow served only 5 months. 5 months! Then, fast forward to September 2025, he gets arrested again in Georgia on an Interpol request. Time and time again, the authorities catch him, and time again, these shockingly brief sentences just highlight a massive systemic failure of global law enforcement.
And this all culminated in a deeply frustrating failure in late 2025. After sitting at a Georgian jail for 2 months, facing serious allegations of defrauding a woman in Berlin, Leviev just walked, completely free. Why? Because Germany abruptly withdrew its extradition request. No public explanation, no transparency. They just dropped it, and he was released without a single condition. It is almost unbelievable.
So you're probably wondering, what is his life like right now? Well, he has leaned into an incredibly audacious campaign of rebranding through absolute denial. After the documentary about him blew up, he literally signed with Hollywood talent managers. He was selling personalized videos on Cameo for thousands of dollars a pop. And today, he is continuing to live freely in a luxury apartment in Tel Aviv, casually claiming he is simply a legitimate businessman. No shame whatsoever.
Aileen Charlotte said something that really echoes here. She said, "They don't care about you as a person. They only care about themselves and their own financial wins." Let those words sink in for a moment. It's a stark reminder of the deeply predatory reality of modern digital fraudsters. There is zero empathy, none. There is only the calculated, ruthless extraction of your resources.
Now, we really have to zoom out here to understand the broader threat. Romance fraud, it is not just some isolated, rare crime. It is a multi-billion-dollar global industry. And the scary part is, it is evolving rapidly. With the rise of artificial intelligence, voice cloning, and deepfakes, the ability to manufacture absolute trust is getting faster, it's getting cheaper, and it's becoming incredibly dangerous. This is quite literally a modern form of psychological warfare. Which leaves us with a rather haunting question to consider, especially as our digital and romantic lives continue to blur together. In a world where reality can be perfectly photoshopped, where a voice on the phone can be completely faked by AI, and where trust is so effortlessly manufactured, who are you really swiping right on?
This is just one story. There are many more you wouldn't believe. Subscribe for the next one.